everyone. This is Angie, and welcome back. I know it's been some time since I made a video, and I've been going through some major changes in my life that I wanted to discuss and share. 3 weeks ago, I went to my graduation. Actually, 6 months ago, I got my associate's degree in fashion design finally, but 3 weeks ago was my graduation, and it was not so much exciting as it was a big relief for me because this is something that I have wanted to do pretty much my entire life, I want to say. I remember when I was a child, I told my grandmother when I was 5 years old that I wanted to be a fashion designer, and she was very supportive. But life took me in a different direction. Um, I was born here, raised in Korea, and came back. And because my parents are immigrants, they really emphasized education and trying to get a stable career. So I ended up going to UC Berkeley for my undergrad and majored in biology, which, to be honest, was a terrible decision because I hated that subject. But after I got my bachelor's degree there, I moved to New York for professional school and pretty much worked in healthcare for the past almost 10 years, a little over 9 years to be exact. And always in the back of my mind was this fashion design thing because that was a childhood dream that was not realized. And, I don't regret my decision of going into healthcare. And I am very grateful to my parents for pushing me to have a good education and to get a good job. But I felt that if I don't pursue this fashion design ideas, on my deathbed one day, I'm going to look back and wish I could have done it. So when I was in New York, I got my certificate in fashion design from Parsons and did some internships, which almost turned me off of the fashion world. I don't know about other people's internship experiences, but for me, I worked with about three different fashion designers, and I felt like I learned nothing. Basically, I just did a lot of menial tasks for them, and what I would get out of it is getting to put their name on my resume one day when I look for a job. So after about a year of that, went back to working in healthcare. Then I moved out to SoCal 2 years ago and finally signed up to try to get my associate's degree in fashion. And I do understand that fashion design and other creative fields, you don't really need a degree to get a job or to start your own business or brand or things like that. It's very different from the healthcare field, right? Because with healthcare field, no matter what, you need your specific degree, you need your specific certificate and license to work, whether you start your own clinic or hospital or work for somebody. Those are just things you have to take step by step to be able to work in it. And that's not the case for our creative field. And that brings me to the part which is the most terrifying. I think because I worked in healthcare field for such a long time, my whole mind and personality is almost wired towards doing things in a very structured, step-by-step plan manner. So this whole fashion thing is frightening for me in the sense that there's no clear direction. Yes, I did get my degree, which again is not completely necessary, but I did it because I felt like even though I had my certificate, going from internship to internship really wasn't helping me, and I needed something with structure to help me gain the skills that I would need to either work for a company or a designer, or hopefully start my own brand one day. As of right now, I don't know what I'm going to do, and that's what brings me to this video. I just know that it's something that I want to do, and if I don't do it, I will regret it. And having worked 10 years in a field that was not necessarily my dream career, but I was satisfied with, I think it's time for me to try to switch over to something different. A lot of times when you go into a career, and I'm not just talking about fashion, when I talk to former friends and colleagues in healthcare, in the healthcare industry, and they were people who actually wanted to do it. It wasn't like my case where they were convinced to go into it because of their parents. I remember having a discussion with one of my really good friends. She told me that she had wanted to be a dentist pretty much her entire life. So it was her dream. She went to dental school and still liked it. Once she started working, she became extremely disillusioned. It was not what she expected. And I understood what she meant. Like when she went into dentistry, she wanted to work with her hands, she wanted to help people. And once she started working in a clinic for someone, she realized that this is not just about helping people. It's not just about healthcare. There's a huge emphasis on production, on profit, and it makes sense, right? Because in a capitalistic society, in order for a hospital or a clinic or a place to function, there needs to be profit generated to keep the place running. But I think the problem becomes when the profit is prioritized over the original goal of healthcare. And when companies or bosses prioritize the profit too much, it makes the healthcare workers feel disillusioned and almost scammed into this whole field. I have felt that at certain times. I think you learn to deal with it. I mean, 10 years of working in this field, you see all kinds of things, and in some ways, you can become jaded, but you can also find other people that you can work with to try to incorporate some of your goals. The same thing happened when I worked in internships for fashion industry, and I don't know if I do make this switch in my career, will I also become disillusioned with this lifelong dream of mine? It's very possible, and I'm not looking forward to it. But on the whole, I think what keeps me going for right now is knowing that if I don't at least try, one day I'll be at my deathbed wondering what if and having regrets. If I try and fail, or if I try and become disillusioned and give up, then that is what it is. At least I'll know that I tried. And I think that's the biggest motivating factor for me, and something that I hope motivates other people in pursuing whatever their dreams are. Whether you're first starting out or whether you have a career and you're trying to switch but you're scared, always remember that it is better to try and fail than to never try and always wonder what if. Because I think that cycle of thinking, what if I could have done this, I wish I had done that, that cycle just never stops, and it can really drive you into deeper dark territories, especially if you're kind of a thinking type of introvert, kind of like myself. But yeah, that's a little bit of an update on my life and talking about dreams and careers. I don't know for now what my next steps are. I'm trying to even figure out what my main interests are in fashion, um, and trying to come up with an idea of something and trying to figure out how to move forward. But if you've watched this until the end, please leave a comment down below, especially if you are in a situation where you're trying to get a job or trying to switch careers or trying to figure out what to do with your life, what your next steps are, and what are you doing to try to achieve that. It would be very helpful for me. And yeah, until the next video, I will say goodbye for now. Bye.